Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, guess what? It is the last day of the third quarter and I'm out here at Giga-Texas. Take a look at what is going on. And there is a lot of activity. As you can tell over on the outbound lot with this image, most of the vehicles have been shipped off site. Hopefully be able to get to their new customers before the end of tonight and be counted into the third quarter. And I hope that Tesla has a very good quarter for both production and deliveries. So we should find out on Wednesday what those numbers are. Another thing that I want to show you that is a big development here today is over at the Boring Company Tunnel on the west side of the highway. Now, we've seen some of the new road panels being delivered. These are the refabricated ones to correct some cracking issues. And with this image, we can tell that more of them have arrived and they are clearly marking them as tested. The other development that is related to the road panels is that they are now installing them back into the tunnel. And with this image here, a front-end loader is picking up one and moving it into the tunnel. In the video, I got a chance to watch it in action, and it went in pretty deep into the tunnel, so it looks like they have a lot of panels to replace. But I think that's a great sign for getting this tunnel operational. Another thing real quick to show you around the site today is on the east side of casting. That baghouse filtration plant continues to grow larger and taller as more equipment is being assembled inside. Not to be outdone, just to the north of that baghouse plant, you can see a new steel structure is being erected completely across the new concrete apron. And this matches up to the wall of the old exterior, and it covers over the new receiving doors, and also that kind of interesting metal or steel wall that they have placed right in the middle of this structure. It looks like it's definitely going to be covered. I'm not sure if it's going to be completely enclosed, but it is a big change here at the site. The last thing I'd like to just let you know about, kind of changing gears here, is I released today my new video. It's part 2 of 3. This is at Allo Atomics here in Austin. It's a new company that is bringing modular, miniaturized, and mobile nuclear power plants. Their goal here is to vertically integrate and mass market these nuclear power generating plants and be able to use them all over the world. In my discussion with the CEO, Matt Lozak, we got a chance to talk about their company, their plans, details about the generator that they are building, and also some of the business model that they are pursuing. So anyway, take a look at that video. It's on my YouTube channel. This is just a quick sampling of what you'll see in that video. It is definitely worth checking out. So without further ado, let's get the drone in the air. Let's take a look at how Giga-Texas looks like on this last day of the third quarter 2024.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Good morning with a higher altitude shot from the southeast looking at Giga-Texas, the outbound lot and end of line off the left, and a nice view of downtown Austin in the upper left as well. So today we're going to start off really close to the southeast corner where the chiller plant is continuing to have work done on the ground floor. And that is a lot of the pipes, cleanouts, and electronic equipment that's being installed. And I've also noticed that there's been some testing of the fans on the roof as well. And as I pan the drone to the right, a couple of things to note. In the bottom center of the screen is where there's that pipe that goes under the road over to the catch basin, and that is what they are using to clean out the pipes. And the other thing to notice is these brown pipes along the road here in the middle of the screen. This is part of a permit to do some repair and or some kind of a change out of part of a gas pipeline that is going through this area. And this is unrelated to the lateral extension gas pipeline that serves the Sand Hill Energy Plant. And we see that on the other side of the highway. So anyway, a lot of gas pipeline fixes and reconfiguration work in addition to installation around Giga-Texas. As we cross over the power lines and take a look through the gap between the extension on the right and the chiller plant on the left, I'll bring the drone down lower for some better views, but we can see that 4 of the eventual 6 riser pipes on the chiller plant have been installed, and they've been doing a little bit of work with the 4, but I haven't seen much more work on the last 2. And those are those dots that you can see on the sidewall. That's where the other 2 will be installed. And as I continue to maneuver around, a good look at the temporary pumps, pipes, and clean-out system on the south end. And that is what is draining into that lined pond. As I bring the drone down even further in altitude, this gives a better perspective of the ground floor, the work that's going on the concrete section in between, and also some work on the ground floor and second floor here. Now we do see the silver and red plate type heat exchangers being installed on the right hand side of the screen, and from this perspective and lighting, a great view of the interior structure, which is the Cortex supercomputer cluster on that ground floor. As I continue to maneuver the drone back towards the cyber pond, this is a great look across the area where the 3 tunnels have been installed, the grade work on the 3 terraces. On the top terrace, the work that's continuing with geotextile membranes, dirt infill, and a gravel mix on top, and clearly how it goes over the 3 tunnels. In the middle of the screen, these white pipes are part of the roof drainage system, and they continue to do the work to install these coming out of the perimeter grade beam and will be emptying into the cyber pond. And as I maneuver the drone back around, a look at the same kind of work that's going on with this tunnel. In addition to that, all the tunnels are getting the facing doorways and exits worked on, and they're applying a kind of a white stain along the exposed sections of the concrete. And that is similar to what we see on Giga-Texas's main walls. This is also a great view with lighting of the 3 terraced levels and this temporary ramp to go from the lowest level to the middle level. Additional stormwater or roof drain pipes being installed on this part next to the tunnel, and a great view of some of that white stain being applied to this tunnel on the right-hand side of its facing concrete structure. So as I turn towards the southwest corner, we'll fly through this particular area, try to use the shade of the building to kind of minimize how much of the sun glare that we get. But one of the things that you notice is that there's really no Cybertrucks on the left-hand side in storage. There are some exiting the factory. And then when we get to the outbound lot, you're going to notice that it's quite empty. And all of that took place over the weekend, getting ready for the end of the third quarter. This is some look into the second floor and the ground floor of this part of the structure. Now, I am hearing that the week of the 14th of October is when we can expect to see the glass starting to be installed, although they are doing some additional work with the frames and mounts along this entire section. You can see some of that on the right-hand side of the screen next to that white painted beam, part of the second and mezzanine floors. Some work being done here on the ground next to where the Cybertrucks are exiting the factory. Of course, this is a Monday, so it's the beginning of production. None of this will be available for customers for the third quarter, but it will be getting ready for hopefully another big quarter in the fourth quarter. More of the unpacking of crates here. This is resuming what we have seen over the last several weeks. Again, I'm not sure exactly what equipment it is, but it is possible that is some structural packs that are being shipped in. Maybe that is related to Cybertruck, but hard to really tell, and that is definitely speculation. As we look across the central highway to the end-of-line facility, the outbound lot, some of the horizontal drilling that is going on, and also the boring tunnel next to the West Warehouse on Wheels, there are some interesting details, especially with the boring company, that I will be showing you here momentarily. But first, we're going to take a look at the south end of the West Support Facility, which is inclusively all of those areas that we just talked about. In addition to that, two material staging yards that we see in the upper center of the screen and the contractor parking in the upper left. As I maneuver the drone around the power lines and bring it down, I wanted to give you a view of this kind of an outfall channel manifold that is part of the underground water management system. Looks like crews are starting to remove some of the forms and the braces, and that would indicate that the concrete pours are completed, at least at this stage of the construction. As we come over to this triangular material staging yard, a few other things to note. More steel deliveries are underway, and they're stacking on the left-hand side of the screen, also next to the steel corrugated pipe and some of the concrete vault items. In addition to that, and the dirt that we see in the middle section, the set of transformers. On my previous video, we saw several more being delivered. The numbers here have increased significantly, and it looks like we're up to about 40 of the transformers here. And of course, these are in addition to the 84 that we see in the material staging yard further to the north. As I keep the zoom in and show you the work that's going on with that clearing, also downtown Austin in the background. In addition to that, we see more steel items stored here. There is some speculation that will be related to some sort of covered parking and maybe with some solar panels. I'm not sure if that is true or not, but it's something I will continue to monitor. As I maneuver back towards the kind of the east side of this West Support Facility over the West Warehouse on Wheels, I want to bring the drone down to show you that it's another change with the boring company road surface panels. There's additional ones that have been delivered. In fact, as we get closer, you'll see that it says tested on several of them, especially with those access holes in the middle of the road surface panel. And this is part of what is going to be going into the tunnel to restore the drivable surface and allow it to become operational. In fact, we see some of these being installed, and I will show you that here momentarily. But first, as we pass over the horizontal drilling, this is related to the natural gas pipeline for the lateral extension of the Sandhill Energy Plant. This is continuing to the south. There's a similar one on the upper right-hand side of the screen that is continuing to the north. The pipe underneath the tunnel has been completed in this bore, and as I mentioned, here's a view of the road surface panel, in this case one of the ones with the inspection panel being moved into the tunnel. So this is a great sign, not only that they've got a handle on the rework of the road surface panels themselves and the construction and the design, as we have covered on several previous videos, but also signals that they are getting ready to have this tunnel ready for operation. These road surface panels also cover over the utility pipelines and conduit that goes under the under there on the bottom part of the tunnel. And that connects to this conduit and also the fire water loop with the fire hydrant that you see in the center of the screen. So a lot of great progress here going on with the tunnel, also with the horizontal boring for the gas pipeline and the conduit that will serve this area. So let's bring the drone up and we'll fly up to the north and take a look at what's going on with the outbound lot. As I mentioned before, there's additional horizontal drilling going on. This is to the north, and it's the bottom right-hand side of the screen related to that natural gas pipeline. This clearing area is still waiting for its being finished. But the main thing I want to show you is the outbound lot. There are some vehicles, a lot of Cybertrucks, but the large number of vehicles that we saw on my previous video have all been moved out. That happened over the weekend. And hopefully that was just in time to get these vehicles delivered to their new owners. And of course, it's Monday, so production is gearing back up. So just a little activity on the south end superchargers, but a lot of space open in the outbound lot. So hopefully that's a great sign for a solid third quarter. Now, as we maneuver towards the north end of the end-of-line facility, I'll give you a view of some of the Cybertrucks that are processing in to the end-of-line facility to get them ready for shipping. Also see some pressure washing underway on the right-hand side of the screen, and a great look at the north outbound lot and how empty it is, especially compared to what we have seen in recent weeks. Now, as I kind of look towards the north, this is more of that horizontal drilling and the installation of the gas pipeline that is going on through this location. There's a small pit. You can tell that one of those green type pipes has already been installed through that trench. The tinted area where they have a lot of storage of equipment and items is interesting in that they have some of these red and white items on the bottom of the screen that's usually associated with production. And it looks like they have some of that material here temporarily stored until it is needed. As we cross over the roadway, I wanted to show you the work that's going on with some of the fabrication workshops that are here, some of the materials that are here as well, and just a checkup on the Evapco fan units, base units, and some of the ducting that you see on the right-hand side of the screen. In addition to that, more of the pipes and additional items. It does not look like much has changed here, although maybe there's been some additional equipment brought here for staging. As I mentioned, there is a lot of steel stored around the west side. This is another one of those large storage locations. In several previous videos, we've seen more steel being delivered to this location as well. And it's possible that's related to that covered parking that I mentioned. But again, that is speculation, so I'll continue to monitor that. This cleared ground on the bottom is where they have filled everything back in, where the natural gas pipeline was horizontally drilled underneath at Tesla Road. And you can see in the excavation trench where that pipe is going. They have some gravel on the entrance and a small roadway to keep the dust and mud down. In addition to that, the terminal construction is well underway. We do see some large pipes and some additional equipment that is being installed here on some of the footings that we have watched being constructed. There is some trenching as well, and it looks like there's a little kind of a shack installed on the south end related to this equipment as well. And on the bottom right of the screen, we can see additional work being done. And again, this is part of the Sandhill Energy Plant lateral extension. It's not technically directly related to Giga-Texas, but it is here on the property. And this gives you a great view of what is going on here from the north looking to the south. Going to stop here at the electrical switchyard because there is continued progress. This is related to upgrading the electrical service here at Giga-Texas to be able to support the Cortex supercomputer cluster on the south end of the factory. What they're doing here is adding additional footing for more of these steel items, and on the north side here next to the control tower, this is what it looks like. If you take a look at the other two bays on the upper right-hand side of the screen and compare where the footings are. It gives you an idea of the kind of equipment that's going to be installed here. And this is all designed to be able to bring electrical wires down in and connect to the transformer. And when it is done, it will look very similar to what we see with the existing two transformers, and also that kind of that blast wall, retaining wall in between. They are adding another one right now next to this foundation and catch basin. So a lot of progress continuing here. Most of the concrete's been poured, so I think they're starting to remove all of the form work, which is another great sign for the expansion and additional capacity at the electrical switchyard. So I want to come up and take a look at the northeast corner of the factory where there are a lot of big changes today. Zooming in, we can tell that this new steel structure is definitely growing all the way across this new concrete apron that has been installed. In addition to that, new receiving doors, that kind of metal blast wall that's been installed in the right-hand side of the screen, and there's rails for bridge crane and mounts for bringing out the dies from the gigapresses. And this is all looking like it's related to that processing effort to make sure that the dies are managed, maintained, and modified as needed. On the left-hand side of the screen is the baghouse filtration plant that continues to expand, grow taller. More of the pipes are being installed and connection points into the black grating material along the side of Giga-Texas, which is allowing these pipes to be able to penetrate in. This will be part of a system to filter the air and make sure that it is environmentally safe, not only for the processes that are going on, but also for the workers. So pretty a large plant that is being installed. These receiving doors and the new apron continue to see work being done at the base of the receiving door ramp. Also a retaining wall on the north end, and hopefully that will be completed soon. We do see more casting starting to accumulate along the east side of the building as well, but not as much as we have seen in the past couple of videos. And the median underneath the power lines, more of the work to reconfigure that area, kind of in that middle section of the factory. As I maneuver the drone around, this is a slightly different view of the baghouse plant and that new steel structure. We will come back here at a lower altitude to get a better look, but for right now, I want to fly over the roof, over these fan units and the ventilation ducting on the casting machine structure. Over towards the 4680, we see the crane active. Some of the materials are being brought up to the roof, others to the taller of the loading platforms. And then, of course, this area where the ductwork is being added on. We see two of these groupings, one in the bottom center and the one on the left-hand side of the screen. All of this is new. It looks like there's some additional mounts still waiting for installation, and there is a crane that is used to hoist up and place some of those ductwork. As I bring the drone back down on this west side of the building, I wanted to show you a couple of areas of development and updates. Right here is this section that has had the concrete removed, and there is some work on the dirt section. See that green item, that's a compactor, and that red item is where they had a firewater loop, a temporary system set up, which has been disconnected. And this area is where they recycled the cans for the 4680s. Looks like a lot of recycling going on today. And on the northwest corner, the area where they have the bollards and the new concrete poured, looks like there's two mounts. Most likely, this is going to be for a tank or two, and it may be nitrogen, since we have seen a lot of nitrogen being delivered to this part of the factory. So definitely worth watching to see how that develops, but it looks like they're getting close to the point where we'll see a tank installed. More of the flexible cable for what I believe is fiber optics being run along this entire side. And sorry for the banding effect, that's from the sun going through the propellers, but I'm trying to use the building to help shield as much as I can. And while we come around the corner, we do see some castings being stored next to the wall. It looks like a cutout next to one of those doors on the right-hand side of the screen as well. Plus, as I mentioned, the crane is active, moving materials, in this case, white powder-coated materials. I'll zoom in so you can get a good look at this. Unfortunately, it looks like they kind of broke loose a little bit, but fortunately, they stayed connected to the crane. And they're going to come in with those guide ropes to make sure that they are safely put onto that platform. But that's another set of production-like equipment that is going into the 4680s. More casting on the north end next to that receiving door on the right, and here in front of these 4 temporary trailer units. A couple other changes on this side. Not only is this accordion truck has just been unloading some of the items. I saw that they were white framed items, and most likely production as well, with the open vaults where the cables being pulled through the conduit. In addition to this, second location under the white and orange walls where they're doing that. I do want to show you the progress here with the structure. And as I mentioned, I'm at a lower altitude. This gives you a look at how this will appear. Definitely looks like there will be a roof over this entire section. You can see that steel wall at the bottom right, and more of the kind of beams being placed probably to put decking on top for a roof. This is also a good view of the connection points from the baghouse plant through the black graded material to allow the pipes to go through, and also the extended height of this structure on the top of it, and on the bottom of the ground is those cube type steel items that will be lifted up into that tall structure to be completed. So anyway, a lot of activity going on here on the east side of the factory. So I'm going to reposition over towards the cathode plant, and we'll take a look at some additional items over on that part of the site. We'll stop here where the extension of Tesla Road is still waiting for construction. Also, these items in the teal and white waiting to be moved to wherever they're going to be going, and more steel corrugated pipe on the ground for water management system. So anyway, not a lot of change here the last couple of videos, but it's worth watching. Now, next to this temporary kitchen, this is where they've seen the trenching, conduit, and cables for electricity being installed. You can see a good view of that when I was looking down. And this is the originating point next to the kind of machine room that is responsible for doing the cable that pulls the vehicles into the crash wall inside this facility. And speaking of which, there are many different vehicles that have undergone crash testing here recently. In addition to that, looks like one of those wrapped Cybertrucks that is most likely one of the release candidates. We saw images of those earlier this year. And as we continue to fly to the north around the cell testing lab, I wanted to bring the drone down lower and give you a better look at the semicircular gravel road around the lift station. It does look like there is some sort of maintenance going on. The manhole cover is open, and I did see a few of the workers going down inside. So work is continuing on that site. Where we see all of these items that are being stored in this fenced-off section, it looks like more are arriving. In addition to that, wooden crates have arrived as well, some on the left, some on the right. And it appears that this is equipment that has been shipped in from France. And I will try my best to identify a little bit more about what exactly it was that was delivered. The new temporary loading platform and the open section on the third floor, it looks like it's prepared maybe for some of that equipment. And crews are busy continuing with the chiller plant and the portable chillers and generators to make sure either this is tested, operational, or a combination of both. But no real vapors on our condensation on the vaporizers, so it doesn't look like it's really active that much here today. And a good look down the alleyway of some of the other activity tanks and items that are going on here today. So I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude and I'll give you a great view of all of the places that we were able to see today. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed what we were able to talk about in the intro and through the video. And also good luck to Tesla for having a strong third quarter. Again, thank you very much for watching. Take care.